We just saw Russell Brand, part of his tribute to Amy Winehouse that he posted over the weekend. Of course, he's the British actor and former addict and married to Katy Perry. And ABC's Bianca Golodriga had the chance to talk to Perry about their reaction to the death of their friend.
I feel really sad, and I just hope she finds peace.
You and your husband both tweeted about it, wrote about it as well, her passing.
He wrote a really lovely piece about her. It's on his website because he knew her, I didn't know her. But it's really poignant and an interesting piece about how a phone call, you know, when you know somebody that is dealing with addiction, you dread that phone call. And sometimes that phone call is that person calling up saying, I've had enough, I want recovery. And then that phone call is the unfortunate phone call. But there will always be a phone call.
And we'll see Bianca's full interview with Katy Perry, where she talks about her new movie and her music later in the show. But now we want to turn to Dr. David Sack, the CEO of Promises Treatment Center in Los Angeles. Thanks for joining us this morning, Dr. Sack. And you know, one of the saddest things about this is that it really wasn't a surprise at all. We had been watching this spiral in public for so long.
That's absolutely true. There was lots of evidence in her attempts to return to a singing career and concerns expressed by her family that she was really in trouble with her addiction.
But explain then, and try to help us understand, given the fact that everybody knows it, everybody sees it, everybody cares, yet no one can stop it.
Well, you're dealing with an adult, and we don't have involuntary treatment for people with drug or alcohol problems. So that what you're trying to do is to get them to see their lives differently, to really believe that if they stop using drugs, that their life will be happier and more fulfilled than if they keep using them.
She, of course, had that famous song where she talked about no rehab at all, yet had tried as recently as a month ago to go into treatment. Can you give us some insight into why it can work for some individuals but simply doesn't take with others?
Well, I think the reasons are complex. Clearly, people who have psychiatric problems, depression, manic depressive illness, eating disorders, have a harder time overcoming drugs than people who don't have that kind of psychological and emotional baggage. Trauma in childhood, current problems in relationships all add to the difficulty people have with treatment.
And we saw that, you know, according to some reports, that this latest spiral had been caused by another breakup with a boyfriend, and that she then did try to go into treatment. Do you think there's anything? But he had said, you know, listen, I don't think you're ever going to change. Do you think there's anything more that those close to her could have done?
Well, I think that those close to her did everything that they knew how to do. That it promises, what we see is that even people who weren't effective as parents when their children were young are fully on board and are putting all of their efforts into trying to get their relatives into treatment as adults. And I think that probably her friends and family did all that they could. I think that the fact that she was in treatment so recently is another indication that she was at least thinking about the fact that her life was spinning out of control and that she needed to do something about it.
One final question. We've heard so much about this 27 Club. Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, eerie coincidence. But is it something about this stage in these performers' careers that triggers a downfall like this?
Well, I think that the number 27 is probably a coincidence. But what I think is true is that we meet artists on the way up. They're young, they're creative, they're in their late teens and early 20s, and they may be hard partiers. And so we say, wow, that they're just, you know, partying. And then as they get older, the reality of their addiction becomes clearer and clearer.
Okay, Dr. Sack, thanks very much for your insight this morning.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.